What's up, everyone? It's Saturday. It's Mark Pires, and it's Real Talk! This is the daily vlog designed to help you make smarter moves, so if you have any topics you want me to cover going forward, just let me know. And today is a topic that comes from a viewer. Randy Field, you asked me, what was my most difficult negotiation and why? And then you asked me also about how you negotiate as a buyer and a seller, techniques for negotiating a transaction as a seller and as a buyer. So if this doesn't get too long, I'll carry that today as well. If not, we'll do that on a future episode. But my most difficult transaction or negotiation ended up being a transaction. I actually did a new podcast last night where I talked about a negative transaction that occurred, and I'm going to stay away from that because Real Talk is about being positive. So I'm going to share with you a really great story. I had a relocation opportunity, and I was up against two other agents in town. One of them was the agent that they purchased the house with. So immediately your thought as an agent would be, I'm not getting this because that guy sold them the house. They're going to use that guy. But I go into everything with the best expectations, and I went in there and I had a great meeting with them, and we really hit it off. I brought my drone, and I was all excited to tell them about how I'm going to be different and what I'll do to help them differentiate their property from the rest of the marketplace. So I get a call from them 4 or 5 days later, and they say, we want to have a second meeting. We've already dismissed one of the parties. And I'm thinking, okay, they dismissed the other person. It's me against the person that they bought the house with. And they said, when I sat down with them, they said, no, we got rid of that guy. And I was just kind of taken aback. And I'll tell you why he didn't get the opportunity. They basically said to me, what's your commission? And I told them my commission rate, and they said, can you do better? And I said, no, I can't. I earn my commission. I work very hard for my clients. Most people want to sign a listing just to get the listing and then to put it on the market, let other people do the work. I can't wait to go to work. That's the difference between me and what they're hopefully up against. So I said, at the end of the day, what you're looking for is someone who's going to stand here and fight for your value. Anybody who's willing to sit across from you and tell you they're willing to take less for themselves, how are they going to stand up to the value of your house? The answer is they're not going to. They're going to take any offer that they get and try to shove it down your throat in order for you to say yes. That's not how I work. I fight for my value, and I'm going to fight for your value. And when I said that to them, they kind of chuckled. And I said, what's so funny? They said, well, the reason we dismissed the guy we bought the house with is the first thing he said when we sat down is, I could do it for X. And they said, we were going to ask him anyway, just like we asked you, but he volunteered to go and do it for less. And I said, exactly. He doesn't see his own value. What does he see your value as? So, just getting past it, that was how I got the listing. So now for the first couple weeks, it was kind of exciting because she was here still, and she kept the house looking amazing. So I had showing after showing. I get multiple offers in our hands, and they always say your first offer is your best offer. It's got to be kind of modified. It's not the original first offer, but that party most likely is your buyer. We had a party start at X. I got them to a great number, and the sellers were not willing to accept. So now 2 weeks in, we're left picking up the pieces again, trying to get the momentum and try to get new offers. And the seller, the wife, has to go to start her new job in California. Now I'm left with the husband and the kids in the house. And the kids are high school kids, and he's working full time. And he starts saying no to showings. And then he starts saying, you know what, just have open houses. Tell everybody to come through open houses. I said, you can't do that. You got to let everybody have an opportunity to see this house. You're on the market. No, tell everybody to come through open houses. So it was a 3-month listing. It was a short-term listing because it was relocation and they were going to rent if they didn't sell. And so I took this 3-month listing, and for the entire time I had an open house every single Sunday. Now, the hard part about that is you have a lot of agents mad at you because they have clients who want to get in there. And we want access. You want people in, get them through, let them think about it, let them get emotional about it, and let them bring you an offer. I didn't have that opportunity here. I had to somehow get people excited about coming on a Sunday open house every week. So I meet David. David comes with his family to one open house. Then he comes to another. He came to, I think, 4 or 5 open houses. Before you know it, he's like a buddy. And he walked in, I'm like, David! You're welcome home. And I said, you got to buy this house. This house is calling to you. You keep coming to all these open houses. So eventually he says, you know what, Mark? Yes, I think this is our place. But I need to sell a house. I said, beautiful. That's what I do. Well, let's go see your other house. So we go see his house in Wilton. And he didn't need to sell to buy, but he wanted to. And so we sat down, we discussed. And this is where I get back to, it wasn't necessarily the negotiation that was most difficult because I was at the middle of it. I was able to take David's original offer and my seller's response and go back and forth. I had them on the phone. I think I had them on three-way call. I was flipping back and forth. It was like amazing. Sitting in the back where I usually do real talk. And I'm on the phone with them, and within 2-3 minutes, I had the deal done. It was amazing. So the negotiation was the easy part. It was the getting a buyer interested, getting someone in the door in a house that was unavailable. You could not get into that house. I couldn't even go there as the listing agent to walk through, to let people in. They would not let anybody in unless it was the open house. So that was the most difficult transaction for me. But I would say hard work does pay off. And it was very frightening for me because it was short term, and they were very clear. If you don't sell it in that 3 months, we're going to just find another agent, or we're going to rent the house. They threatened on a few occasions where I was thinking to myself, I'm working like crazy with no opportunity, no access to try to sell this house, and you're threatening me that you're not going to continue to work with me. Like, who else is going to do this? Like, maybe you'll find someone else who's going to work this hard, but why would you not just say, hey buddy, look, I'm sorry I'm not giving you access. Keep doing open houses. We'll sell this house. It wasn't like that. You have the pressure, the stress on you at all times. So it was a very difficult transaction that way. But David wound up getting me into his house to sell. I sold his house in Wilton in 2 weeks. And then about a year ago, I get a call from the current owners. And they said, we're being relocated out of the area. And we like the way you represented yourself and the property. Are you interested in listing it for us? And that was great because usually you assume they're going to call the person they bought the house with. So I listed the house about, I guess it was a little over a year ago, and we just couldn't find a buyer. It's just such a tough market in Wilton at the time. So instead I suggested, let's put it on for rent as well. So we put it on both ways. And all of a sudden I had like 5 offers to rent. The market was strong for rentals. And I locked in a 5-year lease on that property that David originally owned. So just remember, if I didn't take those steps, if I didn't jump those hurdles that were thrown in front of me, if I didn't adapt, none of it would have happened. So just remember, that's the most important thing. I always tell you, adaptability is the most important human trait. I truly believe that is true. And that's a scenario that proves to me that, yes, you've got to be willing to adapt in any scenario. So I'm sorry, this has gone really long. I don't know if I should continue on. You guys think I should continue on with the other part of Randy's question? Anybody want to say? I'll continue on because you're listening, and that's all I care about. Is if I have active minds that want to learn, I will continue on. So Randy's question was, how do you handle negotiating as a seller, and also how do you handle negotiating if you're a buyer? Now, I think these are great questions, and you can handle in many different ways. As far as selling is concerned, depending on the marketplace you're in the marketplace I am in, you want to be price tight. I tell people, we're going to bring you the market, but I would suggest to you, if the market's here, I would price here. Because by the time you price, someone's coming in underneath you anyway. So you want to look like the most attractive house on the marketplace in your price point. There is at any given time 10 to 12 active buyers that are ready to pull the trigger on something that they see as valuable. And you have to look that way to the market. You can't fool people anymore. I've had people in the past tell me, you know what, I want to try to do this, and we'll try to get them to think this. I say, it doesn't work like that. This is 2019. The information's out there. In fact, the buyers have a better pulse on the marketplace than the sellers. That's been an accurate fact for a long time with the realtors. We know that to be true. The only way deals get done is what a buyer is willing to pay and what a seller is willing to accept. That's where a deal gets done. So motivation becomes a factor. When it comes to listing, those are my suggestions. You want to price tight. In this marketplace, if you're in a different part of the country, it may be completely different. You may be there's no such thing as underpricing a house unless you are in a rising market. It's the only way you can underprice a house. If a market's if it's falling, if it's flat, or if it's on its way down, you can never underprice your house. My suggestion, I said this a while back, I wish somebody would say to me, Mark, let's put our house on for $1. And let's let a market be a market. No reserve, we just put it on for $1, let everybody come through, and let people put bids in. I think about eBay. I tried to sell an iPad years ago. I put it on for $250, free shipping. Nobody's buying the iPad. But I'm looking. I said, you know what, before I relist it, let me do a little research. I start seeing ones are selling for $259, $265. I was on for $250. Why are they buying these? I look, they're starting 7-day listing at a penny. They let a market be a market, and they let people fight. And you know what it is? It's a human nature thing. We all want to fight for something. We all want to beat someone for something. And that's where the advantage of like an eBay, if you did something like that, and there's a lot of auction scenarios going on these days. Why not just price your house that way? You don't need a company to come in to say, hey, we're going to put it here, or we're going to create it. No, just price it that way. Get a realtor who listens to the market with you. They'll share it with you. Listen. We find a lot of people, we give them the information and they choose to do what they want with that information. We can't force anybody to put a price on a house. We're there to help you, but you have to listen to the information in front of you. And just remember, this is a moving market. What it is today, it's going to be different tomorrow. So you want to be ahead of the curve. If the market's doing this and your realtor comes to you and says, here, this is your price right now, but the market's doing this. By the time you sign the paperwork, it could be below where you just were. Just be prepared. That's the way it is. That's why you want to be aggressive. If you want out, get out. If you're a buyer and a seller at the same time, do not be concerned with what you get on that sale side. It's a wash. It is a complete wash. I didn't get, I need this to take to that. No, if you're buying in this marketplace right now, if you're selling and then buying in this marketplace right now, it's inconsequential what you get on this side, because I'm going to get you better on this side. We are getting such good deals for buyers. There's such good deals. There are sellers that are motivated, and the people who are ready to spend their money are getting good deals. Now, the sellers who are pricing their houses accordingly, like I said to you before, where they're tight, they're coming on, they're getting multiple offers. That's still happening. So price tight. If you're a buyer and you see something that's priced tight and you come in low, you're done. Don't even give it a shot. If you see something that looks like a good value, believe me, everyone else out there thinks it is as well. That is everything. You want to look like that. You want everybody to say, this is the best value I've ever seen. I got to get out there with my agent right now and put an offer in. There are ways to do that. Talk to your agent. They'll share how you could be aggressive, but still get the most out of the marketplace. The most important thing you have to understand is the people that start here wind up getting so much less than they would if they priced aggressively from the start. There's stats that I could show you. If you want, let me know, send me a DM, and I will get them across to you. But the tighter you are with your price to start, the more money you net at the end of that transaction. There's no benefit to going to a cocktail party and saying, hey, my house is on the market for, oh, really? How long has it been on the market? 7 years. Like, you don't want that. You want to be able to tell the story, say, I put my house on the market and I sold it in 2 hours. It's a story I tell. The only reason I can say that, and again, I price aggressively because I'm a realtor. I understand how the market works. My wife and I needed more room. We were going to renovate our house, or we were going to buy a new house. And it's funny to me that my wife found our house. Like, I wasn't thinking, let's move. I drew up a full set of plans. I was in the process of speaking to banks about getting a proper, home equity in order to do the work, and then just to be able to do it the way I wanted to do it. And then she said, you know what, look at this house. Let's go take a look. I think it's really cool. It's the perfect neighborhood. It's flat property for the kids. And when we walked in there, I just said, I felt it. I said, this is it. This is our place. And we needed to sell our house. We needed to put our house on the market and sell. We weren't even ready to do that. So when I approached the listing agent and I said, look, this is for me, and we're going to get our place in order and get it on the market and sell it quickly. I'm going to price it aggressively. Oh, I've heard that before. You're going to price it aggressively. Listen. Here's our number. Let's do a deal. We're not playing any games. When it gets back to this, Randy, you wanted to know how do you deal with negotiating on the buy side? Get to the deal. Get to the deal. Okay? Now, if you're a buyer who needs to sell your house, you got to get to the deal quicker. So I went in there strong. I put a deal together. I still got a good value on it, but you get to the deal. Especially on houses that are priced aggressively and you have that feeling where I think everybody else is going to like this one, you get to the deal. You have to take it off the market. Houses that are sitting there for 2 years, yes, you can come in there and you can play the game of, let me start here, let's see how motivated they are, let's get to a common ground. That's okay, you have time. But the ones that you have that feeling in you that it looks like a good deal, it's a good deal. Get to it, pull the house off the market. That's it, that's all you can do. So, that's a full gamut, I would say. Did I cover it all? Anybody else? This is kind of nice. I have some people here that are actually watching today. I guess it's a Saturday thing. So if you guys have any questions while I'm live, I'm taking them. this is kind of cool. So I went on to Instagram, and I'm usually like 2 minutes on these things. Everybody's like, you can't go on for long. No one wants to hear you keep going on and on. That's why I started the podcast. So if you guys happen to have time while you're driving around, you can download the first 7 episodes of Mark Pires Real Talk. And it's been really cool because what I'm doing on this is just expanding on all these topics. And they turn into a half hour, 1 hour, just going into motivation and getting people up to do something with their lives. And I just feel like a lot of times we're so focused on everything going on around us, we can't get into the moment. And that's what Real Talk is about. It's about living in the moment. So I issued a challenge, I think it was on episode 3 or episode 4, to the world. And I'm hoping we all take this challenge, is that we can all get to a moment of energy where we all feel this positive energy together, and then take it into our day and see if we can affect someone around us. And I feel like with the amount of negativity out there, with everybody fighting over politics and everything, we need to be light. We need to be a light for everybody around us. If we want to get along with people, we need to start. We need to be the start. There's too much to complain about. I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear about you complaining. Nobody wants to hear me complain. I'm just here to lay it out truthful to you guys. I came on with one topic today to talk about Randy and his question for me, and then I just let it go. And that's what Real Talk Podcast is about. So check it out on iTunes. It's going to be available on every major platform this week. And I recorded episode 8 last night. I haven't edited to put it on yet. But that's a podcast tonight in the last 7 days. Real Talk every day. Guys, this is going to be a content channel. So if you guys want fresh content, if you want somebody who's going to come on and put their soul out there every single day, this is where you're going to come. You're not going to miss an episode. Don't worry about it. I won't. I'm here every single day to put on a show for you and just to give you something to take into your day. I started with this with a slogan. This is Mark Pires. It's Real Talk. I'm here to help you make smarter moves. And I start realizing how much that means to me now. I started to try to build my business. I need to get more clients. I need more buyers. I need more sellers. I'm going to come on. I'm going to try to generate something that way. But a change happened. And almost immediately, within a couple of days, I started realizing this platform is not about me. It's about you. I just feel like we don't have anybody explaining to us that we are all unique in our own way. We're all connected and we have so much to offer. But we're so basically focused on what society tells us you're good at or what you're bad at. You know what you're good at. You know what you're good at. Try to lean into it. Try to give it to the world and try to see if it somehow affects a positive change. That's what I'm doing here. I'm 40 years old. Took me 40 years to realize maybe it wasn't writing songs. Maybe it wasn't taking my little snippets of my thoughts and paring them down into a phrase that gets my emotions out there and says how I feel. Maybe it's actually coming out and saying how I feel. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys from now on. So I hope you enjoy it. This was number 2. Number 3 for the day. I still have to go to Twitter to do my Twitter live feed, and then I end up on YouTube every day. So guys, it's 5 live chats a day on the same topic, and then you're going to get the podcast as well, which I don't think I'm going to continue to do that every day. I just have been so excited to have a podcast, so I'm just going on. Whenever the kids are asleep, my wife's asleep, I'll go on for a little while and chat about something. So take a look. I actually yesterday put up episode 7, which was the demonstration of my gig box at Sachs Middle School here in New Canaan, which was really cool for me to go back to where I went to school and have a chance to demonstrate my invention for the kids. They have like a 7th grade Shark Tank type of thing going on there, so they asked a lot of really cool questions at the end. And the full demonstration's there, so you can hear me, and a lot of it is about entrepreneurship. It's a lot about the gig box, but a lot of it talks about leading with your heart. And when you believe and you see something, you have to go for it. And you can't listen to the people around you because they don't see what you see. They don't have the vision. In fact, it's going to be very hard for you to find many people that have the vision. There are thought leaders out there. Those are the ones you want to listen to. I keep telling you guys, listen to the people who are doing it. Listen to the people that are actually affecting change. And if they start telling you you're onto something, that's what you want to listen to. So that's it for today, guys. It's Mark Pires. It's Real Talk. I'll see you on tomorrow's episode. And just be good to each other. Take care. I always have to keep the first line of this song, Something to Live For. Ready?
I was walking down the road today, looking for another way to ease my mind and know my living.
I love that.
I look into
You got to ease your mind and help your living. That's what we do here on Real Talk. I'll see you tomorrow.